If I could only read your mind with superhuman power, life would be a breeze sometimes. The good stuff's in between the lines, my thoughts and my feelings.
Hello and welcome to episode 26 of The Good Stuff in Between. I'm Shaun Milne. In this episode we're speaking with Michelle Shields, an artist programmer, to ask how do artists get a chance to play the big stages at the music festivals. She's got some of the answers. Get comfy, get your notepads out and enjoy the show.
Nothing's gonna bring me down. No thinking about the past while we're building for tomorrow. Nothing's gonna bring me down.
Somebody I'm delighted to say is joining us today is Michelle Shields, who is not only artist, programmer and director for the HebCelt Festival, but is steeped in music, working on festivals, shows, television, a whole bunch of stuff that we'll get into here, and is actually one of the nicest people in the business too. Michelle, hello.
Hello, hi Shaun, thanks for having me.
You are born and bred Stornoway. What was your first kind of memories of the festival?
I grew up just along the road from the festival site really, and obviously this was in the days of no social media or no mobile phones, so we relied on kind of being able to see things with our eyes or on the telly or in the local newspaper. So I do remember, I think it was a white tent kind of appearing in front of the castle every summer, and that was where we would go on our Sunday walks, if you like, and the place that we would go and play in the castle grounds. And then this big tent would arrive, and I don't remember specifically kind of wondering, oh, what is this? But I do remember the first time I went to the festival, which was in 1998, and I remember getting a sparkly wristband, which delighted me. I think it was gold. You'd have to ask Caroline McLennan what colour the wristbands were that year, or if it was even wristbands. But I specifically remember a gold sparkly wristband. So I'm saying it was from 1998 HebCelt, and I remember seeing Sharon Shannon on the stage and thinking that I hadn't ever seen anything like this before. I'd been very lucky to be able to go to concerts in Loughborough, and I grew up one of the Johnny Dodgeman kids, if you like, so I used to go to Dodgeman concerts, and I listened to a lot of Raging and Gale. My mum always had Raging and Gale on, so I heard a lot of traditional Gaelic music, but I'd maybe not seen anything live like that before, and it was just amazing, just all these people watching this woman play on the stage, and just everyone dancing along, and it was a whole range of different people there, and not something I'd ever seen in Stornoway before. So that's kind of my first memory of HebCelt, if you like. It would get bigger and bigger, and then I got to the age that you'd start going out more and socialising, and I was working in Woolies, and we'd try and finish early to try and get over to the festival, and then get to, like, there was big bands like Runrig, and it was just amazing. I never really thought that I would be part of it when I used to see it. It was just something that you looked forward to in the summer and you enjoyed going to, particularly kind of in my late teens, starting to go out with friends and things like that, a bit more independent, a bit more carefree, and just enjoying this big tent full of happy people.
It's really interesting to hear that, because often when I'm chatting to people, it's about people coming from the outside back to Stornoway or into Stornoway to perform. But for you, it's really clear what an impact that's had on you since you're a kid. Is that something that remains in your head when you're considering what acts you're going to get involved and what's going to work, that it's not just for, the people who've been at loads and loads of gigs, it's for that first flush of, wow, what is this?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think obviously I've been involved in the festival for a long time now, so I've watched it grow and watched kind of what we offer to people change, if you like, for the better, and particularly for those younger ears and the younger audience. So yeah, it is always something in your mind, maybe more so now that I'm a mum than previously when I was 20 years old and just going for good crack and to see pals.
Yeah, because what people will soon learn if they come up to the festival, if you've got one of the cutest music lovers on the planet who's rocking around in HebCelt day every year.
So take Jack along with me. So he does enjoy it. Maybe more of the kind of fringe activities at the moment. He's only 3, so we've got our site caters for children in a really great way, and there's lots of different things. If they don't want to be in the big tent full of loads of people, we can stand out to the side and we can listen and have a little dance, or we can go up to the kids area, or we can take part in their storytelling, Gaelic storytelling as well. So yeah, and the family concerts are kind of the main thing that I try and get him to, because it doesn't really matter if you're kind of crying or if you're dancing or if you're just kind of sitting quietly in the corner. They're for everyone of all ages, but it's really nice to see kind of 18 months to 4 years just getting, toddling down and dancing along to some Kaylee music, or maybe Noddy will be singing a song and he might slip Baby Shark in there to entertain them, but then we'll get back to a traditional Gaelic song. And it's just about exposing them to that sort of atmosphere and letting them hear that type of music, which maybe they don't hear in school or in the baby classes or anything like that.
And you've been involved not just as somebody who's going as a kid, but I think your first job there, if I'm right, was in the box office.
It was, yeah. So I left Stornoway in 2004 to study events management. I'm not sure if HebCelt had an influence on that, but it probably did. But I didn't work for HebCelt at the point of, or hadn't been involved in HebCelt at the point of choosing that course. But it was maybe something that I aspired to do, but I felt that I wasn't capable of doing that yet. So I went to Glasgow and I studied events management, and of course in the first year they're looking for you to do work experience. So I was looking around all the different kind of options that I could do, and of course HebCelt on my doorstep in Stornoway, home for the summer. Let's get in touch and see what I can do. And I met with Caroline McLennan and was fortunate enough to get given a job in the box office. So that was great, because that kind of immediately immersed me into kind of the inner team of HebCelt, if you like. So I very quickly got to know a lot of people, Murdo and Martin and Caroline, who were the board at that point. It was great because I was there for, I think, probably about 4 weeks over the summer. So I saw the quiet part of HebCelt when everything's just coming together, and then as the tent starts going up, you notice the town starts to get a bit more of a buzz about it, and then people are coming in, getting their tickets, and you just get to chat to everyone, and everyone's so excited. I think that year was that the first year that Van Morrison came, so that was sold out already. So then we were having to deal with, can you get a ticket? Is there anyone selling tickets? Can we go on a waiting list? So yeah, it was a really busy year for us, and it was non-stop, because at that point that was the only way that you could collect tickets. We didn't have a box office on site, so every single person that bought a ticket for that sold out festival came to us, and there was visitors and there was locals, and it was just great hearing all the stories of where they'd traveled from. And then the Thursday night came, and I had been to the festival, but not in the same, in that role. So I'd not seen it from behind the scenes, if you like, and I'd not really appreciated the work that had gone into it before then. And we walked out with the girls that worked in the office, and I could not believe it. There was nearly 5,000 people stood in front of me in that tent, and I was like, we've met all of these people. That's amazing. And it was just proper. It just made you realize like what a massive thing HebCelt is for Stornoway and for the town. And we had played such a small part in that, but it felt so good to see all these happy faces just waiting in anticipation for the bands to come on the stage.
So you've gone through all this, you've got that great experience in the box office, and since then you've gone on to do a bunch of other things, involving, the shop, you've been artist liaison, you've become a director, you're now doing all the programming for the artists. Tell me a little bit about the evolution of how that's happened.
So I started off, yeah, as I said, in the box office, and then I became the box office manager, so that kind of looking after the running of the office. And then I guess the succession planning started for Murdo and Martin and Caroline were obviously thinking ahead to the future, and then they brought a load of us on to the HebCelt board. So a load of us, there's about 5 of us, so from all different areas. So from the stage side to myself in the office, and Jane with the artist liaisons as well. So just all just adding to the kind of already wealth of experience of HebCelt and the board. I joined the board, I think it was about 2014, possibly slightly earlier than that. And then as a result of that, Caroline obviously was thinking about her own succession planning, and it's a lot. She was doing a lot of work. So she asked me if I would like to be kind of the artist coordinator. So she was still booking the bands, and I would then take over from the point that they were booked to getting them onto the island. So making sure their ferries or their travel was booked, whether that was by us or by them, and then their hotels, accommodation, just making sure we knew how many people were coming, that all their riders and their tech specs were sent in plenty of time, invoices, all that kind of thing. So I've been involved in the artist side for quite a few years now, so I know how that runs logistically. So then in 2023, I took over as the programmer, which at the time I was a bit like, oh, what do we do here then? And I have programmed before. I used to work at a music agency as well, so I knew from the point of an agent how they were approaching festivals and what they were looking for, and then obviously I knew from a festival point of view. So I knew about those conversations, and I had programmed a program called Ceola's Crack in the CCA on Sauchiehall Street for quite a few years, kind of early 2000s. So I knew the process, but obviously it was on a slightly bigger scale. Yeah, it was just a case of trying to deliver what I hoped the audience would enjoy. And I've been really enjoying that for the last couple of years. So yeah, it's been good.
This show's also about trying to impart some wisdom to people as well who are trying to make their way. Two questions come from what you've been saying. One is the experience you had going through the festival, applying for a job, working your way through different roles. That sounds like that's been invaluable to where you've got to today. But also, when people are trying to get into festivals as artists, presumably they shouldn't just be waiting for that call. There's things they can be doing to say, "Hey, look at me, I'd like to play."
Definitely. Even just making those connections in the trad music world, especially, it's a small industry, and a lot of people do several different jobs. So once you start to get to know people, or I volunteered at Celtic Connections, that's kind of the year after I had done my first year at HebCelt, and I met a lot of people, and it's all about kind of bridging that gap, isn't it, between different festivals and different events, and you just get to know, and word of mouth of, oh, I worked with so and so and they were quite good at doing such and such. And so then people started phoning me, asking me to do jobs here and there, and then bands started phoning me, and I ended up working at active events for Lisa Whittock, which was brilliant. So I worked there for just under 10 years. So I started a record label with Breibach, and I was looking after, again, it was that support of the agent, so all the logistical things, making sure the tours worked for the bands, and getting to know all these little venues around the UK, which was great as well, because then you're making loads of contacts. And then I was a project manager of Showcase Scotland at Celtic Connections, which is the kind of industry event at Celtic Connections, where they bring just under 200 international festival organisers over to Celtic Connections. And between Donald Shaw, who's the programmer of Celtic Connections, and Lisa, who's the producer of Showcase Scotland, they make sure that there's a lot of Scottish bands playing over that weekend of Showcase Scotland, and a lot of tourable Scottish bands, if you like. So yeah, that is a great place to showcase to the international music industry, where there's, as I said, just under 200 festival organisers. They are watching Scottish bands play, and then there's always an international country as a partner as well, so 6 bands from that country. And that's like a great place to be able to showcase your music. Going on to the bands and how do they get on the stages, by doing the gigs and by getting themselves out there. Obviously social media is massive now, and it wasn't 20 years ago, and you can use that tool to your advantage and try and get into the ears of people. But it's the live gigs that's going to sell you. And even the biggest bands, they still have agents knocking on the doors of festivals saying, hey, I've got this person, they're on tour, like, can we make it work? Being a small band starting out and a big band, you're still knocking on the festival's doors and sending your music to people who listen to it and trying to get that music out there. But yeah, the live gigs is the real way, because it's the audience that you're wanting to please. The festival organisers want to please the audience. The bands want to please the audience. So you need to get into the audience's ears, really.
It sounds like a huge responsibility to, one, not only program what you think is the right balance and the right sound and for the right audience, but also those people who don't make it onto the lineup, when you next bump into them or hear from them, do you ever find a way to encourage them to keep going?
As you can imagine, my inbox is the same as a lot of venues and festival organisers. It's absolutely packed full of amazing music, and we can't program them all, unfortunately. But they do, most of them go on a list for the next year. I've got a massive list of all these bands that have contacted me, and it is difficult to disappoint people, but you have to get the right mix of maybe different, especially for a festival, different styles of music, different genres to a certain extent. I know we're HebCelt, but we have broadened, we have stretched that occasionally. Yeah, it is hard to disappoint people, but yeah, just keep going, and there will be another stage for you. And it's not to say that we wouldn't have them another time. It's just we've got. That's what I said to actually a band this year. I wish I could program. I could have programmed a full week of HebCelt with all the amazing music that's around just now. Unfortunately, I can't. So next, but as I said, I've already got a big list for next year. Although I do wait until we do audience feedback every year. So if you've been a ticket holder this year, you'll get sent a survey at the end of the festival, and one of the questions is, who would you love to see at HebCelt? And I use that as my Bible to a certain extent, because why would I book people that HebCelt audience don't want to see? Do you know what I mean? Sometimes they might not know they want to see them yet, and that's okay too. But yeah, I do use the audience feedback just to check that we're on the same level and that we're providing something that our audience want to see, because it is all about the audience, and it always has been.
I spoke to Keith Morrison at We Studios just recently as well, and he'd been talking about how the number of stages has expanded over the years, and also out to the villages as well as other venues like Ann Lantern, what have you. That the opportunity that's there to get more bands performing has been enhanced. Has that helped you in terms of being able to formulate that sound of the festival to make sure there is a bit of everything?
Yeah, definitely, because there's some bands that would come to us that might not be suitable for outside a standing gig in a tent on the green, but they'd be brilliant in Lounge, where people are sitting down and really appreciating kind of the intricacies of their music, if you like. And similarly with Bria's Glitch, and we've reintroduced our Harris concert this year, which is in the People's Visitor Centre, used to be called Shalom. And yeah, those type of concerts, and you know yourself, like you go to different concerts and you expect different things from them. And I wouldn't expect to go out to the big tent and everyone to be very quiet and listen to like a beautiful, melody that was so delicate. But that would be lovely in Lounge. So yeah, it does give opportunity to provide a stage for different types of music and different people. So yeah, that is great. And the focus is very much always on local talent as well. So we've had quite a lot of musicians successfully have careers in music from the islands, and it would be silly not to showcase that on our stage. They grew up the same as I did with that stage in front of them in the town. So being able to give local musicians that platform in their hometown, they wouldn't get anywhere else, is amazing.
Another thing that stuck out this year when you were announcing not just the acts, but the whole ethos of the festival was the fact that you strive for, as much as you can, some degree of gender balance. And you also took part in some panel talk about that afterwards as well,
Mhm.
about the importance of showcasing. And you had a phrase that you picked up from somewhere about you can't be what you can't see.
Yeah.
How has that informed the festival over the years, and what impact do you think it has?
So Caroline did a great job of this in previous years of striving to have a balance, a gender balance, 50-50 split. And there's an initiative called Key Change, which we've signed up to. We actually then looked back and we had adhered to that before it existed. So it is a focus, but also it's not, if that makes sense, because it shouldn't be. Like we just program great music, but I do feel like there should be more of a conscious effort of people who maybe don't adhere to it to try and have a better balance. Yeah, it's something that happens very naturally and very easily for us because there is a great amount of male, female musicians out there and bands out there. And we are proud of that, though. We are proud to have that gender balance. And as you did quote there, it was from Katie Tunstall. So this last time that she was with us, she had commended us on our lineup and had said that she was playing a lot of other festivals over that summer, and there was 15 names before there was a female name on the lineup in some of the festivals that she was playing. And so she was really delighted with HebCelt being kind of that balance. And it was Katie that had said, you can, as growing up, you can't be what you can't see, and you need to put the people on the stage for those people to then aspire to be them, and to be able to see them on the stage, to think, I can do that too. So yeah, that's where that came from, and I do agree with her. Yeah, it is important, but it shouldn't be an effort. It should just happen.
And from that, you've got trailblazers, you've got icons, you've got next generation of emerging stars coming through this year as much as in the other years. Who are you most looking forward to seeing, if I'm allowed to ask that?
Oh, I don't like. I'm scared to answer. I am delighted that Nina Nesbitt's coming. That was a great addition to the festival lineup. She's kind of gone in a more down a more folk route more recently with her music, so that'll be good. And I'm looking forward to seeing her. I'm delighted to have Cassidy back, who were our headliners in 2012, and they are working on some new music at the moment. Although I do hope they still do all their old stuff, because I'll be down the front singing along. I'm going to end up naming the whole lineup here. Uh, Eddie Reader, love Eddie Reader. She is up there with my top five. She's up there with my top five ever favorite performances at HebCelt as well. The last time she was with us, it was just amazing. And not often can I stand still and watch a full set without somebody asking me a question or interrupting me. And I managed to watch her full set, and it was amazing. Yeah, it was really good to be able to watch her full set last time. So I'm looking forward to seeing her again. Although my mum is also a big fan, and she is usually on childcare duty, so I might have a 3-year-old in tow for this Friday set this year, to let my mum enjoy it. But Astro Block, I'm looking forward to Astro Block. They're kind of new, up and coming, although the musicians are not up and coming, but as a new ensemble, as a new band, they are. Yeah, loads. Everyone, who are you looking forward to seeing?
I'm really interested in seeing Elias Alexander
Oh
because
yeah.
obviously he's got a great festival story as well in terms of his journey. But it's also switched me on to listen to more music this year as he's been touring and everything. And I think he was going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to him as well. And he was a volunteer with us in 2014. He was on the stage crew, so on the tech crew. So that's a wee full circle for you. So he's coming over, and I think he knows Keith quite well, so he's going to go and see him. And yeah, that's nice for him to be able to be on that stage now after helping build it 1 year. So that's great.
I think also one stick out for me, Beluga Lagoon. I saw them a couple of times. That's going to be really, really good. Also, I'm tied up with Laura Silverstone these days. She's got some great new stuff coming out. Willie from the Tumbling Souls with their new stuff that's
Hmm.
going to be through there. And also Skerrifor, because it's been so, so very long since I've seen them, and also a big, big year for them. And when you're talking about audience feedback, I'd imagine they must have been one pretty near the top of the list.
Yeah, they were. They were top of the list. So that was a no-brainer, particularly with their 20th anniversary. Yeah, so I've been speaking to Daniel about that, and working out kind of if we could make it work, and luckily we did. And yeah, Skateboard are great. They're such a tight band, and the audience just love them, and there's about everything there, from a bit of traditional music, some songs we can sing along, a bit of a dance, and then more kind of contemporary stuff as well. So it's great, and that'll be a lovely end to the festival as well. Everybody had high spirits by the end of it.
One of the headlines that caught my eye this morning was the fact that so many festivals this year have sadly had to pause or stop. I think there was one figure suggesting 49 this year alone. So the fact that HebCelt, way up there in Stornoway, is managing to put on a program like this is going to have so many people come to the island, a huge success story already. The multi-year funding came through from Creative Scotland this year, taking it to 3 years now. Presumably that adds a little bit of security while you're going around, getting sponsorship and trying to sign people up. But specifically for you in the role that you have, sort of programming the music for the next couple of years, especially going up towards the 30th anniversary, how important has that been, and what kind of things does it let you do?
Yeah, it was great, absolutely brilliant news when we got that through because that, yeah, as you say, it is a bit of security. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. We still have to work hard to make sure that we deliver a fantastic event every year. But yeah, for me, to be honest, we've got a finance director and she's brilliant and she tells me how much money I can spend and that's how much money I spend. And that's how it works. I wouldn't pretend to be able to understand the full ins and outs of the finances of a festival, and that is certainly for the expertise of Sharon, our finance director. So yeah, so I get a budget, and that's what I work to, and that's the way that I like it because then goodness knows what I would do if it was left to my own devices.
The lead-in time for booking bands and artists and performers, how does that work? Is it like you can't leave it to be lastminute.com, I'd imagine. How far in advance do you have to do it?
Probably start next year around September. So of course you're kind of looking from the top first. So you're looking for your headliners first, or at least one headliner, just so you can start thinking about the program as a whole and the type of music that you're going to deliver to the audience. And once you secure a headliner, then you can start thinking about who would suit or who would contrast with that music, and making sure that you've got a bit of variety for the audience. So yeah, so around September, but then I was still booking in January. So it depends. It's kind of like a jigsaw in a way. So yeah, you need to get all the right pieces to fit in.
What's it like for you when you go to see like other gigs, or if you're working on other festivals and you're seeing people performing? Is your wee head sort of just burling away there thinking, oh, they'd be great?
Yeah, always. Every gig I go to or every festival I go to, yeah, I'm always thinking about HebCelt. It's hard to switch off from it. It is really part of me now. So yeah, we go hand in hand to these events.
But HebCelt being such a massive part of your life, of course, but you do other things, and you've got another flourishing career as a floor manager. How did that all begin?
How did that begin? Good question. Yeah, so back to my events management course, I had to do work experience as part of the course, as you would expect, and I did HibCal, and then I did the mod, which is a Gaelic, the Royal National Mod, and it was in Stornoway that year, so that was handy. And that was through BBC. I got in touch with them, and I managed to get a job as a runner. And because it was still kind of a large event, it was quite nice to be able to see the event from another point of view. And that's kind of how I carried on. So after the mod, I went to Celtic Connections. Again, that was just for the event side of things. And then I think I did a Hogmanay show again as a runner. So I kept on kind of doing music events as a runner and being able to see it from the TV point of view. And it was good to get an understanding of what the TV guys want or expect from a festival or event, and then what the event guys like are expecting from the TV side of things. So it was again that bridging the gap of knowledge between the two and being able to understand the workings of both areas of the job kind of thing. I started work for the music agency that I worked for, and in my holidays, I would still go and do the mod and the New Year shows, the Hogmanay shows, and I was offered a job as a third AD on a drama. So I made the leap from the agency into the drama world, which I kind of soon realised wasn't really for me. But and then as a result of that, I got speaking to other people, and I ended up as an assistant floor manager on a lot of kind of quiz shows and kids shows, and it progressed from there into floor managing. So I still do, yeah, that's my day job. So I still do news and music festivals and quiz shows and sporting events as a television floor manager.
Because you've got such a busy time, I'm going to move now swiftly onto our quick fire round, if you don't mind, just to see if we can test you a little bit here. What was the music of your youth, and do you still carry it with you?
Oh, well, I could say Spice Girls, but also Capercaillie. So yes, yeah, I was kind of brought up in the 90s, so very much pop with, yeah, like Spice Girls, all the boy bands, Westlife, Boyzone, but also from the traditional point of view, and as I said, listening to a lot of Raging Gale, Capra Cayley, Karen Matheson, Kathleen McInnes, and then after that first HebCelt, I listened to Sharon Shannon a lot. I think I had a cassette maybe of hers. So I suppose it has, but it depends what mood you're in for music, really, doesn't it? I listen to a whole load of different music.
Last song or podcast you did listen to?
I listened to Kingfisher last, so I was listening to their album, and the podcast was Good Stuff in Between as a bit of research for this chat.
So always the right answer. There. Exclusive album launch or festival?
Oh, festival. Absolutely festival. I think with an exclusive album launch, you'd go there knowing what to expect. And, you're choosing to go there because you like that person's music. Festival, you might come across someone you absolutely would not have chosen to see and will love them. So, yeah, festival. Sorry, album launches.
Favourite food or rider, or the strangest one you've had to sort out?
There's probably been quite a few. I tend to blank them out after the event's passed. I think we got asked for a pack of white pants before, four pairs of pants. I can't remember what band, or if I could remember, I probably wouldn't name them anyway. And also, I think you've been told this before, but the chair asked for a guga, which is a seabird from Ness, a delicacy, if you like, and it absolutely stank. And we had an outdoor event and it was stinking, and I don't know where that guga ended up, but they did get it.
If you could collaborate with anyone alive or from history on a project, who would it be and why?
I would probably go for Michael Eavis. I'd go to Glastonbury, but I'd go like 70s, 80s, and just see what the crack was there.
Restaurant, cinema, or lazy Sunday brunch?
Restaurant. I like a good dinner.
Digital addict, or can you switch off?
Oh, digital addict.
What does life look like after you stop?
I don't think I will. I don't think I'll ever stop. I'm always doing something and always working. I can't imagine it. Unless I win the Euro Millions, then I'll be on a beach somewhere lovely.
One artist everyone should be listening to right now?
Oh, well, other than, because I have been listening to Kingfish a lot, I've been also listening to CMAT quite a lot. But Dougie MacLean. Dougie MacLean is constantly brilliant. So go and listen to Dougie MacLean.
What's the best piece of advice you've been given or would share with others?
I think probably just be yourself and keep trying, and eventually you will get there. Manifest good things and good things will happen for you. And
from where you started until now, what was the good stuff in between?
Oh, there's been so many. I've been very fortunate. From, as I said, listening to the Spice Girls, having that Smash Hits magazine. I've then been on the stage. I've worked at Radio 1's Big Weekend and MTV Europe Music Awards, and things that I could have only ever dreamed of doing. So, yeah, lots of highlights. And then things like Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, they were brilliant. Every day there's something good. I think watching HebCelt grow has been amazing, and HebCelt turning into like the event that it is now, and what we deliver now is just brilliant.
Well, HebCelt is only weeks, no days away. Looking forward to seeing you up there. Michelle Shields, thank you so much for joining the show today.
Thank you for having me.
I know now how I went so wrong. I disconnected from the power, forgot to switch myself back on. The good stuff's in between the lines.
So there you go, how to get involved in a music festival, front of the house, behind the scenes. Thanks so much to today's guest Michelle Shields for sharing all those insights, all those tips and all those secrets, and we look forward to seeing her at the festival very, very soon. Today's show was brought to you in association with Skoog Media Associates and the HebCelt Festival. With me, Shaun Milne, I wrote, edited and produced today's show. Today's title music, as always, is from Willie Campbell. Nothing's going to bring me down. You can find more of Willie's great stuff at williecampbell.co.uk. And don't forget his band, The Tumbling Souls, have a new single out a week today, July the 4th. 1995, a nostalgia-dipped love letter to the 1990s. I commend it to you. We'll be back with a new programme very, very soon, wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.